I don't necessarily even have to, write it. To me, it was, from a wine standpoint, it was pioneering, trailblazing at the cutting edge, and I talked to my foreign rights agent, and she got very excited about it. The end of Vertical, my sideways sequel, ends with Miles calling a Spanish girl, whatever. So, yeah, I left it open that I would go somewhere else, but that it wouldn't be. I wouldn't do the Pacific Coast anymore. Sideways takes place in Southern California. Vertical, 85% takes place all the way through Oregon. I'm done with the Pacific Coast, and there's no other real wine region in the United States worthy of anything. And so Chile was interesting to me. My biggest fear would I'd come down here and be disappointed. There'd be no novel if I was. I have to get excited. So and I've come down and I've gotten pretty excited by some things. It's similar to Sonoma in terms of the water, the ocean temperature, but it's drier. It's got half the rainfall, and the soil is so different. And the winemakers that I'm meeting down here, not all of them, but a lot of them, they're doing no interference in the wine at all. So, I mean, these are amazing wines that I've had down here. She's an analog to art. I mean, she is making, well, first of all, she has struggled and suffered just to plant her grapes. Yes. So that's similar to how most artists live. She's uncompromising. That's it. I'm not talking now about writers, hacks, commercial people. I'm talking about true artists who do it for the love, for the vision that they have, not the money. They do it for that reason. And she's an analog to that for me. They're artists. They're making subjective decisions. They're making choices that are subjective, and they have to live or die with those choices. Art is the same way. We make choices, and then we don't want people looking over our shoulders. People got to get down here and see this place, and so I love it. I mean, and I think part of the problem is that, however they're, and I don't want to get into the politics here, but however they're packaging what they're doing, and by the way, this comes from the winemakers. I've met many winemakers. I don't think it's being done correctly, but that's not my job. My job is to try to find a novel here, be excited about it, and find a story. I mean, It's a story at the end of the day. Wine is only a part of the story. And right now, what excites me are the cool weather things, and that's what they need to. And by the way, they know this. I mean, Jancis Robinson has written about Chilean wine, and she's one of the great wine critics in the world. So they know about it, but it's just going to take more time. And I think getting people to come down here and see it, as opposed to just having a bottle in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Yes. They need to come down and see where this wine is. Then they'll fall in love with it, I think, even more. That's my opinion, Yeah, well, Australia is they're in the crapper.
Yes.
I mean, they banked it all on Shiraz. And they're in serious trouble. And Chile's going to make a mistake, in my opinion. But I'm not a marketing guy. If they bank it all on Carmener, they're going to make it.
So? Wow.
Yeah. Because it's an inelegant grape. It only has that. And I'm not the only one who says it. Every winemaker I meet, Connoisseur, Meditict, Loma Larga, they'll all tell you that it's a limited grape. It's okay. But I don't think they want to bank it on that. They've got better grapes here and great people doing great things with them. That's just my opinion. I'm sure that's heresy to say that, but I'm just being honest with you. The cool weather Syrahs, incredible. And they really have, they're different. The Syrahs, well, the Syrahs in Australia are they're like fruity and jammy. And the same with California. They're mostly in Paso Robles, is where they're coming from. They're hot weather grapes. And then there's the Rhone, where they're quite good. That's pretty much it for Syrah in the world, except for here. I didn't even know they were growing Syrah here and growing it close to the ocean. Then I had to taste them, and they were outstanding. The minerality in them and the layers and levels and complexity. This is what I would be advertising from Chile. Personally, get the wine geeks to fall in love with these grapes and not try to sell them a $10 wine. That's my opinion. It's not my place. I talk to the winemakers and I ask them about what they're doing in the vineyard, what they're doing in the winery, and they get me excited when they tell me what they're doing, and that's what they're doing, And so, and I'm excited, so I think, well, maybe that's what you should, but it's not my place, I mean, I'm not, if they want to put me on salary, I'll help them with some marketing strategies, but, I mean, Well, I don't know. My goal is just to write a good story, a good novel. Claudio, really, that's it. And I'm going to be excited about the wines that I'm excited by. That's it. There's no compromise here for me. There's no influence peddling at all. So I'll continue to go to wineries, though. I have a lot of appointments, I guess you would say, but I need to also do a rewrite on the play, the Sideways play, because it was just announced yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, that we're going to the La Jolla Playhouse. Big announcement with a 3-time Tony Award-winning director. So I've got to do a little rewrite, but I'll continue to visit wineries and continue to blog, and just to me it's just everything. Even this is fodder for my novel. You might be a character. Eventually, I'll end in Patagonia.
Really?
Yes, yeah. Because I met a winemaker who at an awards at your thing, and Rafael, I forget his last name. He's at Unduraga. I'm bad at pronunciation, and he has some boutique projects. In one, he grows Pinot Noir in Patagonia. So it seems to me that maybe that's where Miles ends up, in Patagonia, growing 1 hectare of Pinot Noir. I don't know. I was going to kind of blog about it, but I've decided not. Raymond Chandler, the great mystery writer, said never tell anyone what you're working on. Because, I once, when I was young, I gave a guy, I was halfway through a novel. It was the first novel I ever wrote. It was a close friend. I gave him the first chapter, which was very depressing, but it ended up being a very redemptive story. And he read the first chapter. He goes, no one will ever read this. And I stopped. My feelings were so hurt. Now that wouldn't happen to me now because I got a pretty thick skin. I've heard it all. My ex-wife told me to burn sideways. So, and she's the interim chair at the NYU graduate school, Tish there. She has an Academy Award for a short film that I wrote, and she told me to burn sideways. So, I've heard it all. No, I mean, it'll be a road, I can tell you this, it'll be a road journey, because all my stuff, like Vertical, Sideways, the 2 movies that I made, they're all road movies. I love movement,
yeah.
Because it takes me through different landscapes, and I would never write something that just all took place in one place. It would be too, So one of the things that, going back to one of your first questions, what attracted me to Chile, it lends itself to a road thing because you're 3,000 miles long, you know what I mean? And you have all these different valleys. So I thought, wow, there's tremendous potential for me, not only for your wine industry, but tremendous potential for me as a writer to really expand my palette, not wine-wise, but literary-wise. To take my characters somewhere else and let them absorb another culture and see what that produces. And so there's an analog to wine here, and I don't mean to keep being redundant, but there's a real analog to wine that poetry in the glass that people talk about. It has the same elusiveness and ephemerality and subjectivity as literature or movie or music to me. I can tell you honestly from the bottom of my heart, because I wear my heart on my sleeve, is that in 1 month I have met incredible people. I've had incredible wines, and and I've got 2.5, 3 months to go or whatever it is, and my only fear was that I would be disappointed and that there would be no novel and I'd have to just go home,
Okay.
And I've those fears have been allayed,
Wines of Chile, the natural choice.